What's going on YouTube? Bells here, back with another Series 12 Team Fixing video, and today we're looking at Giratina and apparently Kyogre. So again, this is a tier 2 sub perk to the channel where you, the viewer, get to send me a Pokepaste, and I will take a look at the team and I will fix it up and optimize it based on what I think is relevant and optimal, currently as of this moment. So again, we have uploaded the paste and removed the viewer's name, so this way their identity is kept anonymous, right? So the viewer has sent to me a Giratina-Origin team. Okay. Whew. So they really like Giratina-Origin, and they decided to slap it on with a Kyogre team with Tornadus, which is okay. And then they added some support stuff with Incineroar and a Mungus, so good stuff for Trick Room. And then they have a Landorus here, and that's pretty good for Sun stuff. So double Intimidate, there's Redirection, there's Fake Out, there's Speed Control with Tailwind, and then we have Kyogre and Giratina as our two main, restricted. So, yeah. So here's the thing. A lot of this team I actually like. It's just there's a Giratina-Origin on it. So what is the goal of Giratina-Origin? Well, now, is it bad? Yeah, it is. It's bad. But if you surround it with like 5 other broken Pokemon, then it can work, right? And this is one of those situations where, like, okay, yeah, I mean, might as well. But the one niche that I always like to tell about Giratina-Origin, and we talked about this when we were doing a Giratina-zation or Giratina Dialga building video. That's like maybe like a month and a half ago, so take a look at that if you want some reference. But what I always say with Giratina-Origin is the one niche that it has is that it's very good into the weather teams, right? Because the dragon typing helps resist it, and it's just like so bulky. And the Levitate really helps a lot, especially against like Groudon stuff, because you're forcing opposing Groudons to go for like suboptimal moves like, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, things that just don't hit Giratina very hard. And then, Precipice Blades just doesn't hit it, right? Because of Levitate. And then Heat Crash or Fire Punch, not very effective. Your Dragon typing is good. It's good against the Zard. It's good against Venusaur, especially this set with Dual Wing Beat. I did not know it got Dual Wing Beat, by the way. So Max Airstream is kind of nice. So, like, you got some answers against, like, Sun stuff. And then, Kyogre, I mean, yeah, some of them have Ice Beam. But, like, you've got answers to that. And Ice Beam doesn't do a whole lot into Giratina anyway, right? It's just so bulky. And then not all of them have it. If they have Thunder, we're chilling, right? You'll win that matchup. And then Shadow Force is really good because it can break through stuff like Protect. So there's a niche for Giratina-Origin. Now, that being said, it's not enough where, like, you can say, oh, this is good. Because, as much positives as I just listed, what are the negatives that really just put it down into, like, bottom C tier, basically? The Ghost typing is the main thing, right? Like, Dragon typing and Levitate is cool, but the Ghost typing is what shoots it, right? Because in a format where there's Calyrex Shadow, it just dies to that. Incineroar, what are you going to do against that? Dies to Throat Chop stuff over time. Doesn't one-shot it, of course, but, like, what are you doing into Incin, right? Not a whole lot. And then, Lunala is another one. Again, well, the thing is, the reverse is also true, right? You're also good into Lunala, technically, because Lunala is also a Ghost type, but if they have, like, speed control over you, then they have the advantage, right? And Giratina doesn't do much there, especially when Lunala still has its Shadow Shield up. Okay, and then you just have a bunch of other things like Grimmsnarl. Like, what am I doing to Grimmsnarl? Not a whole lot. Yveltal's another thing. What am I doing there? Not a whole lot. So we need something to help us against a lot of these Ubers. And, in a lot of games, you might not even bring Giratina. You might have to rely on your other restricted and the other support to help you out there, because even like Zacian player up, that's another thing I didn't even mention. So I listed a couple of positives, but then I listed like 10 negatives, and that's what puts Giratina out of the top contention of, like, good restricteds, right? Cool design, it looks really nice. It's got a great shiny, by the way. But that's pretty much it. I mean, but like, can it work for ladder? Yeah, it can. Like, if it's ladder, you can play whatever you want. You know, I would not use it in the best of 3 tournament, but again, I just had to make sure you guys understand, like, what is the goal of Giratina? Okay, so that being said, what do we have here? Like, is there anything wrong with any of these spreads? Not really. Why is there 27 attack on this Amoonguss? Holy cow. But other than that, Landorus, Amoonguss is pretty standard. Incineroar, I don't know why we have 28 defense. Maybe that's just to live Sacred Sword after Intimidate instead of like close combat stuff, I'm sure. 92 speed is cool. Ogre, again, pretty fast. You know, second EV bump here, a little bit of HP bulk. And then Tornadus, again, relatively standard. So like this EV spread and sets, I don't have any problem with, right? It's just, there's a Giratina-Origin on it. And I want to do a little quick joke here. Oh, I don't know why I clicked stop recording for a second. But anyway, I want to do a little quick joke here. You know what would really like make this team actually better? Hold on, let me just do this real quick. Just to get a little crack out of the thing space. All right, so what would make this team better? Congratulations. The team is instantly better. We just removed the Giratina and we added Zacian, and now we have Zacian Kyogre team that's actually pretty solid, and now our team is instantly better. Okay, but again, I'm not allowed to do this. The one I did ask the viewer, the one restriction that I had was that Giratina-Origin must be on the team. Everything else is fair play. Now, when I heard that, I was like, thank God, because, you know, it's just a little weird on a Kyogre team. Like, I understand the synergy with Landorus, like you can Earthquake next to it because of Levitate. But other than that, look at this. One, like Tornadus weak to ice, Amoonguss, Landorus, Giratina weak to ice. We got 4 weaknesses to ice. What the heck do I do against Calyrex Shadow stuff? I understand we have an Incineroar and Amoonguss, but like, what do I bring? Like, I guess Kyogre and Giratina with those 4? I mean, it's tough. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. Instead of Kyogre, what if we did Giratina Groudon, right? That is my proposal. Because with Giratina and Groudon, at least you can Dynamax the Giratina and then go for those defense drops, right? And then Groudon all of a sudden starts hitting like a truck. So let's go with that. So let's turn this around. And we'll keep the Giratina, but let's turn it into a Giratina Groudon team, all right? And in other words, Giradon. So let's go back into the main page of Showdown and let's build Giratina Groudon. All right, so we're back in the lab here. So we got Giratina and now we got Groudon on the field. So again, like I mentioned, the main combo that you can do here is Dynamax this thing and then go for those defense drops for Groudon. And then now all of a sudden Precipice Blade starts hitting like an absolute truck. Okay, now how do we support this? So we need answers to a few things. We need to stop Zacian. We need to stop opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider teams, especially Zacian Calyrex with Thundurus. We need answers to Calyrex Ice Rider and Palkia stuff. We need answers to Kyogre, of course. And then some stuff like Yveltal and then Lunala. You know, just like popular threats that are like running around. So these are all things that you got to think about when you're doing this, right? So, what can we do? So I think Grimmsnarl has to come here. So this is really good into Yveltal, really good into like Calyrex Shadow Rider, really good against Palkia as well, because you have this broken move called Spirit Break and also broken screens like Light Screen and Reflect, and now Giratina and Groudon just kind of sit here and chill behind these screens. There's really just not much that the opponent can really do behind these things. Now, granted, you know, Dynamax is a broken mechanic, and then, you know, you can always crit, but again, you know, screens help a lot here. Now, from there, we need something for like Ogre stuff, because, you know, Light Screen is nice, but, you know, it doesn't ultimately solve the problem. It just puts like a nice little band-aid on it. But what else can I do? Well, we've got something called Venusaur, and this is really good, again, with Groudon here. And I'm just going to move it over here like this, you know, just so that it's next to Groudon here. So we got a Sun Abuser, good against Kyogre stuff, and even Zacian, right? Because you have like Max Flare, and then Grimmsnarl Reflect can help you survive against the Zacian stuff. So we have that. And then speaking of Zacian, what's our answer for that? Good old reliable Incineroar. Everyone hates this cat, but you know, this cat, but now this might be a hot take for some of you, but if you have been playing competitive for a while, you'll understand this statement. This cat right here is actually very healthy for the meta, right? And I can make an entire video on why it is healthy for the meta. But just so that you understand, you know, can you imagine a format where like Zacian doesn't have to deal with Intimidate, or Calyrex Ice Rider doesn't have to deal with Intimidate? What is stopping those two if there is no Intimidate, right? The fact that we have Incineroar actually helps a lot, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. But we need this cat for those reasons, right? And, you know, Fake Out is good. Parting Shot is broken. And, you know, Intimidate, obviously, is what we're going for here. Because, like, with Intimidate and screens, then we can survive, like, Zacian play rough stuff, which is, you know, one of Giratina's, like, key weaknesses here. So, we're doing okay here. Last thing is, you know, Giratina, if we're going to go physical, Groudon's also physical. Again, weak to Incineroar, Intimidate stuff, and Venusaur doesn't like, you know, dealing with a fire type. So what's our answer to that? We've got this thing. We've got the Thundurus here. And this is a, you know, you might look at this and be like, this looks like Lunadon or like Calyrex Shadow Rider with a Giratina in its place. That's basically what it is. I mean, again, listen, if you want to make something work, right, you got to, the key thing is you got to surround it with like answers and supports that normally are already good into the meta right now. And this is it. So, what do we got here? So we got something for Kyogre, you know, with Groudon, Venusaur, and even Grimmsnarl. We have something to help us against Incineroar, Intimidate stuff with the Thundurus, which is also really good into Kyogre. We have an Airstream Abuser. Grimmsnarl screens helps us a little bit with the Trick Room stuff, especially with Incineroar. Incineroar helps against the Zacian and the Ice Rider matchup. Also very, very good into, you know, Lunala, Calyrex Shadow Rider. You know, these are all things. And then Yveltal, Thundurus, physical, you know, very good against Yveltal as well, especially with Grimmsnarl on the field. And then Palkia, again, is going to have its trouble against the Grimmsnarl and even the Venusaur to a degree. Even Giratina can do well against Palkia, right? Because what can Palkia really do? I mean, yes, it has the Dragon move, but, like, you know, we have a Grimmsnarl, so we're kind of chilling there. So we got answers and ways to deal with, you know, common threats to the meta here. So, you know, this is looking kind of cool here. But let's finish the team. So now in the next part of the video, we're gonna do the EVs, the movesets, the items, and then the EVs. All right, so let's move on to the next segment. So we'll stick to what the viewer had, and I think is actually a good moveset here. So again, it was Shadow Force, and then Dual Wing Beat, which is great against Breaking Sash, and it's good for Max Airstream. I did not know it got that. And then Shadow Sneak, good also, especially against Breaking Sash and Mimikyu stuff, you know, very much needed. And then, of course, Protect, right? So then from here, you know, the Groudon, again, I'm still on the board of Citrus Berry. You know, I can't tell you how many games I've played where, like, Protect saved me, and just when they thought that they could double in because they think you're Assault Vest because that's the more common item at the moment, but then you reveal Protect at the time, at a timely move, and then, you know, you just make them pay. And actually it just came in the previous video when we had Ho-Oh, right? There was a game where the Groudon was against a Rillaboom in the end game. They doubled in with Grassy Glide and something. I clicked Protect. They wasted the turn. Boom. And then they just died next turn. So Protect is broken with Groudon here. And then what was I doing? Oh yeah. So then standard set here. But like, okay. I think, you know, even having said that, I still think I think we'll give them the Assault Vest, right? I like Citrus Berry Protect, but I think for them, because they're the ones playing this team, not me, we'll give them the Assault Vest. And because we have Grimmsnarl, right? That's just going to help against Kyogre stuff. So Precipice Blades, have Heat Crash, good fire move. How about this? Like, I know Rock Slide and Stone Edge is a thing. What about this? Rock Tomb, yo, Speed Control, excuse me, Clover Tech. And then another one, I think it's time for Shadow Claw. Listen, you know, you can max this thing, right? But then what if you just max the Groudon and you go for, like, Phantasm? And then now things get their defense drop, and now this thing starts hitting like a trunk next to Groudon. And then even when the Dynamax is done, if those defense drops are still there, Precipice Blaze is just gonna smash. So we've got that. I'll keep the AV here. And then from there, now again, always my rule with the Venusaur, because I have a Grimmsnarl here, bro, I am going weakness policy Venusaur. There is no one here that's gonna stop me. I know this is the viewers team, but look, gotta have a Clover spin on this, man. We gotta put the weakness policy on this Dino plant. Leaf Storm, Earth Power, of course, Weather Ball, Max Flare stuff, and then of course the broken move called Sleep Powder. It always gives you an out when you need it most. Just make sure you don't miss. Alright, Grimmsnarl, Light Clay stuff, of course, and then Scary Face for a little bit more speed control. You know, Landorus, Landorus, what is Landorus going to do to Giratina? Nothing. What is he going to click Fly? You can't click Earthquake. You know, Scary Faces for Landorus, you know, Groudon, Venusaur, and Incineroar, they don't like it. Thundurus, yes, you get a boost, but, you know, what can you really do after that? Maybe just click Airstream, but if you don't have it, like, if you just click Fly, like, I mean, what is that doing? So, Scary Face is still pretty good. Incin, Chukaberry, you know, relatively standard stuff. Flare Blitz, again, if you want goggles, like just for like opposing sleep and Amugen stuff, alright, you can go goggles. I think that's a fine item. But I think going against Groudon is more of a common appearance than the Amugen stuff, right? So Fake Out, Parting Shot, you know, Throat Chop, relatively standard stuff. And then finally Thundurus, Life Orb Thundurus. I do like Life Orb Thundurus. And you can put these two together, right? Because what you can do is you go for Airstream stuff, and then, you know, you have Brick Break for not only breaking opposing screens, but Max Knuckle Play, so you can make Giratina and Groudon hit like even more like a truck, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, this is it. I think we've got all the movesets and the items, right? Yes, we do. Okay, so this is it. So now let's go into the nitty-gritty of the team. Now we'll talk about some EVs. Okay, so now with the Giratina, again, the goal is to, I think, just have like enough speed where you want to outspeed like opposing Thunduruses. You know, base 90 is always like that weird tier where you can take it in a lot of different directions. You can go like 112, you know, which is good in Trick Room stuff, and then after 2 Airstreams or a Tailwind, you outspeed Calyrex Shadow Rider. We don't have any of those here. I mean, we have this, you know, Scary Face, which is okay, but like, it's not enough. I think we need to go to the next tier, and I think this is it. And at least this way we're faster than other Groudons that are like 116 or 117. So there's that. Now, having said that, I think we also do want to go one above it. Because Groudon, I think we're going to do more or less the same idea, but we don't want to speed tie. So we'll make Groudon 120 and we'll make Giratina 121. This way, if we Dynamax Giratina, you know, we can get off those Phantasm drops first, and then Groudon starts hitting like a truck. Now, I understand that what if we Dynamax the Groudon, and then what if it goes for Phantasm stuff? Okay, sure. I mean, it's not a big deal. But you're more likely to click Quake and Max Flare than this move, right? This is like situational, but I think it's just like a cute tech against like, you know, the Lunala and Calyrex Shadow stuff. So there's that. All right, anyway. So from here, I think we are going to keep it as adamant as the viewer wanted. And, you know, 120 is okay. It's not great, but, you know, like, listen. Well, what we had to deal with Lugia was something else. Like 120 is like passable. It's pretty good. It's okay. I still think you want to max it though, like truth be told. And then what you want to do is you want to optimize this HP for that weather damage. So I think, you know, just going up to 239 is all we need, right? Because if you take out your handy dandy calculator, which I just happen to have here, 239 divided by 16, the weather chip damage, right? You know, sand and hail. 14.9, so you're only taking 14 damage per turn, right? Because 14.9 rounds down to 14, right? Again, weather damage is 1/16 of your max health. And then from here, now I was doing the calc on Showdown, you know, I was doing something like this where I just dumped the rest in special defense, but then I realized I'm missing the calc against Zacian Play Rough. So what I did was I messed around a little bit and just did this, and then this gives me, you know, the 6.3% chance to survive that Play Rough with Intimidate or Reflect. So this is it. This is what we want. We got the calc that we need. All right, for Groudon here, relatively simple. Again, we'll just go like second bump here, you know, 156. And then ultimately, you know, the rest just goes into your bulk. You can do something like this where you can go like, you know, 220 Groudon, you know, just a little bit. And then a little bit of special defense here. Like this is just like, all right, you know, is there any like specific calc? You could do like Chongjun stuff and just be like, all right, 212 and then, you know, 60 speed F. Like I think that's okay. You know, I'll even leave it like that. Just because, right? 60 defense is special defense is okay. All right, and again, you're still outspeeding Thundurus with a +1 airstream, but you're not speed tying Giratina, right? So that's the main thing there. And we did hit the second EV bump in the attacking stat, and we still have the rest just goes into your HP bulk. So I think it's okay. Venusaur. All right, so this thing, I always like to go with this 212 investment, and what this 127 speed tier does is, you know, after an opposing Zard or Zapdos goes for a +1 airstream, you're still faster in the sun, right? So that's why I always go for this 127 speed, you know. So this way, if I fail the sleep powder once and they click airstream and I survive, I still have one more chance to get it off because I'm still faster in the sun. So that's why I always like to do. And then we just go first bump here in the special attacking stat. And again, if you don't know what the EV bump is, you know, we have a separate video that explains what that is. I just hit my mic. So check that out. But if you don't know what an EV bump is, just comment in the video in the comment section. I'll answer your question. All right, and then for here, Max Quake stuff. So we're getting a special defense boost. So we want an even number here for that reason. So I just put 12 investment here just to give me that even number that I just said. And then 175 HP. You know, this is again optimizing that hail and sand chip damage if they do want to change the weather against you. So there's that, and then just a little bit leftover bulk into the defense. And you know, with Grimmsnarl screens and or Intimidate, you know, when you're Dynamax, you can live the Landorus or Thundurus airstream, you know, and then you can bring in your Groudon next turn and then just smash them from there, right? So speaking of Grimmsnarl, here we are. We'll keep it relatively standard with our spread, and the idea with our Grimmsnarl spread is with Reflect and Intimidate swap in from Incineroar, we can survive the Zacian Adamant Behemoth Blade, right? And I'll show you that calc in a second. But basically, this is it. Here's the bump in the special defense. You just need 1 point in the attack for Grimmsnarl. You don't really need damage. You just need to be bulky and support. But this is the main physical damage calc here with 220 investment in the HP and 156 in defense. If you do the damage calc, which I'll show you in a second, this is what lets you survive the Zacian Behemoth Blade. And then 12 speed, just to outspeed other Grimmsnarls that don't have speed. You know, it comes up sometimes, so you never know. Alright, Incin. I always like Careful Incineroar just to like help me deal with those Calyrex, Shadow Rider, Astral Barrages. They're annoying. But we just need a little bit of speed on this thing. The viewer had like 92 speed. Alright, I respect it. I don't think we need it. I think we're just gonna go like second bump here in Spadef, a little bit of attack, some defense, and then the rest just goes into HP, right? And you know, you still live the Zacian fighting move. Now again, if they're adamant, this is what we want, right? I didn't think 28 cut it. Maybe it did, but I still like this much. And then Thundurus, you know, very standard, just Jolly, you know, max speed Jolly, right? And then a little bit of Life Orb optimization here, just 1 point in the bulks, and then just the rest just goes into attacking stat, right? So that's pretty much it, right? And again, here let's put this into a pace. What is the goal of the team that we're trying to do here with Giratina? So we have options to start strong with like Venusaur Grimmsnarl stuff or Thundurus Grimmsnarl stuff. You know, you set up the screens, you deal a bunch of damage, you deal chip damage over time, and in this way your Groudon and or Giratina can come in from the back and then hopefully do cleanup duty, right? Because Giratina behind screens, it's hard to kill, you know, even with those super effective moves. So that's the whole idea there. Now Thundurus, again, it's meant to discourage, intimidate, and if you're going against teams that have like Incin and Landorus, you know, you want to keep that Thundurus on the field as long as possible. So you lead it with that in Grimmsnarl, you know, make it bulky with the screens. Groudon and or Giratina can or hopefully clean up from there. If it's Trick Room stuff, you need the Grimmsnarl and the Incineroar. Those are the main two that you got to bring. I would imagine Groudon also comes as well. And then, you know, from there you can bring, I guess, the Giratina. But that's the whole idea. And then if it's Yveltal stuff, you got to bring Thundurus, of course. I don't know if you bring Giratina in that matchup. I think you might leave that behind, truth be told. But it all depends on the makeup of their team. Ogre stuff, I mean, you know, depending on what kind of ogre stuff it is, I think if it's like Whimsicott or Tornado stuff, Grimmsnarl has to come. You know, you want to slow them down a little bit and then, you know, reduce as much damage from their Dynamax as much as possible, and then either Venusaur, Thundurus, Giratina, or Groudon can max, and then hopefully you can figure it out from there. But that's the idea behind what we're trying to do. Let me just show you some key damage calcs here, and then we'll take a look at some practice battles and see how the team plays out. So let's go into the next phase of the video. Alright, before we take a look at like all these little damage calcs, what I want to do is actually just reveal the GIFs. So Incineroar, Venusaur, Thundurus, and Grimmsnarl is the 6 that we have for this team. So having said that, so here's the Zacian damage calc. Again, this is on Pokemon Damage Calculator. I did a whole video on this previously, so if you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. Again, you have to know how to use this website if you want to do like team building stuff. You gotta know what you're calcing for. So Zacian absolutely destroys Giratina. Cool. I'm very sad. Is there a way where I can survive? Yes. If I intimidate it or click reflect. Alright, I do live that, so that's nice. And if I get an intimidate on that, if I'm lucky enough, now it's like, okay, it's still a 2-hit KO, so that's okay. But I'm still able to like live this, and like Shadow Force does a lot of damage actually. That's kind of cool. Now what I was looking for was the adamant calc, right? So if I go to adamant, even with like an intimidate, 12.5 is, if I told you had a 12.5% chance to win the lottery, you'd be like celebrating. All right, that's a pretty good odds. So what I did here is I dropped this, just to like help me out here, and this is the calc I want, right? You saw how I messed around with the defense and special defense, just so that I can get the calc that I need, and this is it, right? So I got it to 6.3% chance. Now, if you really wanted to, you can mess a little bit more with the special defense and add more to defense to get the guarantee. I don't think it's necessary. And this is 252 adamant, right? So, like, not all Zacians are like this strong. Most of them just go up to like 164, and then we're definitely living anyway. So there's that. And then if you click reflect, it still doesn't really change too much of the 2-hit KO stuff. So yeah, but that was the main thing that I was searching for, right? Now if you look at like Palkia stuff, or Dialga stuff, let's take a look here. So let's go like Palkia. Let's just do like a custom set here. It really doesn't matter. All right, let's just do 252, 252. Okay, so like you see how Spatial Rend just absolutely annihilates me, one-shots me actually. If it's modest, 252 with a life orb. If I click light screen, all right, about 85%. If they don't crit me, so I'm still living there, I can get off a Shadow Force potentially, and then maybe potentially KO if I've got some chip damage from Venusaur, right? So there's that. I would imagine, yeah, Dialga is pretty much the same thing. It's also base 150, so there's that. You're living with light screen, right? Thank you, Grimmsnarl. Thank you, Grimmsnarl. And it also works if Groudon gives you the special defense boost, right? So in that regard, you're still doing okay in terms of that. So there's many ways to increase your special defense on this team. Okay. Was that it? We did the dragon stuff. I did Zacian. I think that's like Yveltal. Okay. Oh wait, Lunala first, then Yveltal. So Lunala. Okay, let's just say it's actually stronger than this. Let's say it's actually modest 180. So like Moongeist Beam doesn't one-shot me, thank God. But again, if it gets +1 from Meteor Beam, that's okay. We have the light screen, and it's pretty much essentially the same calc. So it's good to know that I can live one Moongeist Beam if I'm full health. There's like, what about like Yveltal stuff? Like, what if it was like Life Orb, Foul Play stuff? Oh my goodness, Jesus. What if I have Reflect? Does that save me? Okay, at least that. Dark Pulse is a problem. Light Screen, okay. See, this is what I mean. Like, Yveltal's a little sketchy, but with the screens, maybe you can do it. But this is also why you have Thundurus on the team, right? So don't count Giratina out yet. You have the Thundurus. If you have the Thundurus, preserve it. If they don't have the Yveltal out, keep the Thundurus in the back. You don't need to like let them chip you down where Yveltal can finish you. Bring the Thundurus out. Bring the Thundurus back until the Yveltal comes out. Deal with the other stuff, and then finish the game off with Thundurus in the late game Dynamax. Okay, but anyway, those are some of the calcs I wanted to show you here with Giratina. I guess I can show you some Groudon stuff, but I don't think we need to. We've seen those calcs before, but you can do them yourself. But I just wanted to, at least mainly show you this. I guess I can show you Venusaur stuff. Actually, let me show you Venusaur. Okay, this is Venusaur against Yveltal. Okay, so like, yeah, see how like Oblivion Wing just pretty much just one-shots me. This is like 252 Timid with Life Orb, alright? If we both Dynamax, That Airstream, actually, we actually live it. Oh, okay, Clover, nice bulk on that Venusaur. Thank you. And then Light Screen, you know, helps me take it a little bit better. But then I can get off that Bind Lash, you know, maybe not into Yveltal, but like into something else. I just need that chip damage, right? So this way, you know, maybe Groudon or someone else can finish it off. But I can live one with the Light Screen, right? And then let's look at Landorus, the other main threat. Let's just go like, yeah, let's do something like this. Let's just do like, make it 252 Landorus. Okay, 252 Landorus, reporting for duty. Okay, so again with the Max Airstream, ouch. But like again, we actually just live it naturally. Like if I have Reflect, this is basically, it's still like a guaranteed 2-hit KO, but like we're kind of chilling, you know. And then +2, you know, G-Max Vine Lash does quite a bit of damage into Landorus here. And then after the chip damage, I would imagine it just dies like next turn. So there's that. If this was Life Orb, what if this was like Life Orb Landorus? Hold on a second. This is Airstream. I think Life Orb, I mean, there's no way it doesn't make that big of, okay. All right, I mean, we got the Reflect. We're okay. We got Intimidate on the team. We're fine. You know, we'll live that. What else do I want to check besides these two? I think that's pretty much it. I mean, Kyogre, Ice Beam, that's not Stab. Zapdos? Okay, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, let's do Zapdos. But again, you know, same idea. Screens is just so good. Like, there is no better Pokemon than Grimmsnarl, man. There's just no way. Again, okay, so even the Zapdos can't even get the calc. I mean, it might, but like, again, you know, this is still fine even without like screens. And then I put that, you know, pretty much more or less the same kind of calc. You know, Venusaur is just a little bit more bulkier on special defense than defense, so that's why we're taking it a little bit better than Landorus. But yeah, I mean, again, you know, G-Max Vine Lash, good chip damage. You know, not saying I'm clicking this into Zapdos, sometimes I might, but, you know, I'm able to get a +2 boost. I get my chip damage off, and then from there, you know, who knows. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that I can live stuff with Venusaur. Alright, so that's enough with like the main damage calcs here. Now let's take a look at some sample battles. Okay, Kyogre Solgaleo stuff with a Fini and an Urshifu. So at first glance, it looks like, I don't know, maybe Giratina can't really come. I mean, there is Fini and Urshifu, but we got Thundurus, man, and we have Grimmsnarl. And then, you know, with the Kyogre stuff, of course, Groudon has to come, but like, Giratina not bad against Solgaleo. So let's see what he leads here. So I'm going to lead. So it's Solgaleo and Torn. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to lead Giratina and Grimmsnarl, right? And the reason I led this was, if he led the Urshifu, right, of course I'm just going to not leave the Giratina out there to hang and dry. I'm going to threaten him with the fairy stuff. So, but he led this instead. So he has a couple of options. It could be Protect and Tailwind, then next turn Brutal Swing, Dynamax, and Smash. You know, I do expect that, but I'm just going to capitalize off of that and just click, you know, Shadow Force. Because if he's going for Tailwind now, next turn he's probably just going for Policy, Dynamax, and then he's just going to be taking a lot of damage. And then I'm going to get the Reflect Up. I may die, but like, he's taking so much that like I can bring in Groudon next turn and then just beat his Solgaleo, and then I'm okay against Kyogre, right? Because a Dynamax Groudon will always have the advantage with Kyogre, especially with the Assault Vest. So that's my plan, but instead he switches into Kyogre, right? And he Dynamaxes Tornadus. I have no idea why he did that second part of the play. Like, I understand the switch. I don't know why he clicked Airstream. So this is basically a free Shadow Force here. I took no damage. Light Screen instead of Reflect. So now I understand. He has Max Darkness. So he wanted Kyogre to do this stuff. Well, he should have just let it instead. But again, look at the damage by Giratina. Oh my god. That Kyogre is dead meat here. So I'm just going to switch in Groudon here. And again, this is the value of Dynamax, Weakness Policy. Venusaur, he Air Shames me. Thanks for the Policy boost. Alright, now we get the chip damage going. You know, with the Vine Lash. I mean, Origin Pulse doesn't matter in the Sun and Screens. And we get chip damage in the Tornadus, and we kill the Kyogre, right? So that's the main thing here. Solgaleo, what is this thing going to do? Not a whole lot. There's Tailwind. And there's the Sun Steel Strike. Again, Venusaur is just kind of ignoring that damage. Solgaleo is not strong without the Policy. And I did the Precipice Place because I didn't think that would actually kill it, but it did. And then he just forfeit. So whatever he had in the back, it didn't matter. Venusaur and Groudon, and even Giratina probably could have just beat it. But yeah, like there's the value of weakness policy, Dynamax Venusaur behind the screens, right? Again, Grimmsnarl, broken Pokemon. Let's take a look at one more. Okay, Yveltal, right? And then, again, we talked all about Yveltal a little bit and how Giratina doesn't have the greatest of matchups here, but he's got a weird Yveltal team, right? I mean, I understand Yveltal and Groudon, but then he's got like Grimmsnarl, Landorus, Incin, and Mimikyu. Of course, I'm going to be leading Thundurus here. Like, why would I not? And then I'm also going to be leading the Giratina here, and I'll tell you why. If he leads the Yveltal plus one of these other homies, Thundurus just puts on so much pressure right from the get-go. I understand he can pivot out into these ground types, but then, like, I wouldn't risk that. I would just Air Stream and make Giratina fast. And then, you know, I'm kind of just chilling from there. And then if it's Instant Mimikyu stuff, I can just Shadow Sneak it and then just blow it away with the Thundurus. And then I don't know what the Gastrodon does here. I don't think he brings it. That's probably just for, like, Kyogre stuff. So I'm fairly confident here. So he actually just goes with Instant Mimikyu stuff. So this is fine. Intimidate onto Giratina doesn't matter because I get the damage boost onto my Thundurus. And all Giratina needs to do is just break the disguise off of Mimikyu. Don't let him get Trick Room up. Don't let him get his slow Groudon having the advantage. So we just Air Stream, we remove that, and we're already up 1, and we have a pretty good advantage now. Parting Shot, I mean, that doesn't matter. He does bring in his Groudon, and funny enough, he just brings back in the Incineroar. I don't know why he did this. So I'm pretty much just going to take Mon by Mon. I'm going to switch out into my own Groudon here and just give it a nice little Airstream boost. Remove that Incineroar. And again, he can go for P-Blades, but he actually just goes for Bulk Up. So he's actually going for defense stuff here. And there's the Yveltal. Now, he hasn't Dynamax yet, but he has no switching because I removed 2 Mons. And there it is. We just removed the Yveltal. And now we're just kind of chilling against this Groudon all by himself. And we did some chip damage there. Now, he goes for another Bulk Up. Now, again, yeah, but like it's 4-on-1. So now I will say this is at one point, you know, I was distracted after this because I was having a side conversation. So I made some things that I forgot were on the field. But anyway, so now it's just all about chipping this Groudon down until like maybe Giratina can finish things up. Brick Break again, you know, Rock Tomb Speed Control. I didn't need to click this because I was already faster. But I was, and then I wasn't thinking about Giratina, who was, again, going to be faster anyway. So I could have just clicked Precipice Blades here. But again, more chip damage with P-Blades, Shadow Force. I mean, I lose the Groudon, but that's okay. Now, here's the funny thing. All right, here's Venusaur. The game is over. I can just click Leaf Storm. It does enough damage. I don't think it kills it. But then, you know, Giratina can just finish things off, right? But I was distracted at this point. I clicked Sleep Powder, and there's Electric Terrain still. So that was a wasted turn. Shadow Force doesn't really do a whole lot to Dynamax, but again, his Dynamax is over. He killed 3 of my Mons, you know. But again, this is what I'm talking about. Groudon is forced to click suboptimal moves in order to kill Giratina. I understand he's +3, but like because I'm so bulky, he's forced to click Rock Slide. Even single target, that didn't really do that much. I mean, I'm still chilling and the game is over, right? He can't really do anything. I have the speed advantage, and there it is. Giratina is able to clean up against Groudon. So that's how you do it. Like, all I had to do was actually just click Leaf Storm, and then I would have been fine. But I was distracted, and then, you know, I forgot Electric Terrain was up. But that's okay. Giratina, the bulk, you know, is able to make up for my mistake and, you know, clean up against Yveltal here. So, not bad there. So let's look at the pace one last time. Okay, so yeah, I mean, here's the pace again. Pretty cool team, right? Honestly, we got to use pretty much all 6 of the Mons here. You know, Grimmsnarl is broken. We clicked screens, Venusaur lived, and it just smashed. Groudon did what it needed to do, and then, you know, Thundurus also did what it needed to do. And, you know, Giratina, just not the greatest of restricteds, you know, but, you know, it did enough where, like, you could say it helped. That's really all it comes down to. Like, you could say it helped. Now, again, I only played like 2 sample games, so I would imagine if you played like maybe 10 games with this, maybe you can find a little bit more use out of Giratina than just those 2 games. But it did fine. You know, we did some big chip damage against Kyogre. You know, we removed Mimikyu with the Shadow Sneak stuff, and then we cleaned up against Groudon there. So, like, I can see some use with Giratina. It's good against the weather stuff, all right? But the Zacian stuff may be a little bit trickier, but you know, we have enough for Zacian. We got Incin, we have Groudon, and we have screen support. We'll be okay. And then the Trick Room stuff, same idea. Incin and Grimmsnarl, those are your key there. But yeah, this is a fun team. You know, if the viewer is actually up for it, if they make the rental for it, I'll use it for a video. I will use Giratina Groudon. And, you know, because I haven't used Giratina yet at all in Series 12. So now is as good of a time as ever. You know, with no events left. It's just ladder. And I know there's World Championships, but like, okay, sure. You know, so now's as good of a time as ever to use Giratina Groudon. So if they can make the rental, I'll use it for a video. But yeah, again, if you're interested in stuff like this, where I sit down with you in a Discord call and we hash out the EVs like I did here, that is a tier 3 sub perk to the channel. So take a look at that and consider one-on-one coaching with me with that tier 3 sub. But again, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll be back with another Series 12 video. Until next time, guys, have a good one.